Hi, I'm Kat, and this is our daily tarot. So we got a card for each of the four elements today, which means that we don't have a major arcana. Hooray! No big life lessons that are happening today, or as far as like big situations that we're having to face, although we are in an interesting time. So let's look at this. The opening card that we have for today is the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is this energetic of reflection. You can see that the person in this card is looking down into a cup, and there is this fish that's peeking its head out of it and looking up at the person looking down into the card. So fish have this symbolic representation of our spiritual nature, and that in us that can swim to the depths and also come up to the surface. This is a Pisces ruled card, so it's a mutable water card. So what is mutable water? Well, mutable water, it has this flow to it. It's this energetic of when the lake starts to cool, it has this quality of something turning over and being brought up to the surface. So we are in this reflective place. And what that does is it allows this space for being able to dissolve things that are no longer useful, things that are stagnant. You know, look at it as like if there's like mud stuck in an area of a river and it starts to move and break up and the flow starts happening again. That's the energy of this card. Now, the challenge that we're facing today showed up yesterday too. This Three of Swords card. It's this energy of the mind just slaying our heart. Like, we can get so stuck in the mind that we are incapable of making any effort toward anything in our life. And it's because of how we're seeing things. It's the perspective. So we're in this place of worry. We can see there's three swords stabbing through this heart, which is like, oh my God, what is happening? What do I do? Kind of an energy. And this is our challenge today. So this is something that we are working with. Challenges are friction. And as much as our culture wants to say challenges are bad, we also have this interesting aspect to our culture that we like sport, and we like sports that are challenging. So consider that the word challenge can have a different connotation to it, depending on how you want to work with it. So we're being challenged by our own mental realm today, in that it keeps getting stuck in this place of worry. It's like, oh my God, my feet are in the mud. How will I ever move forward? My feet are stuck in the mud. Well, the way we're going to get through the challenge is the Nine of Wands. This person, if you look at them in the foreground, they look like they've been going through some stuff. They look rather beat up. They have a bandage around their head. They look kind of scuffed and dirty. And they're looking over their shoulder at these 8 wands that are behind them in this place of reflection also. But this is an energy of completion. It's an energy of being able to acknowledge your past mistakes and places where you perhaps pulled yourself away from your center and got a little beat up for it. And we do this with our mental center. We can beat ourselves up. We can be overly critical. We can, have remorse around not getting as far as we thought we might have in a certain time frame. So consider that if you have one will rather than, being pulled away from your will by all these other senses of activity, where do you put your will? Do you put it up in your mind in this place of worry? Do you put it in this place of reflection? Where do you put your energy and your fire for the day? Now, today I started my fire in my wood stove, and it went out, right? And that's what happens. You have to tend to your fire. You have to tend to your wood stove. You have to make sure that it has airflow and it has will. And so what happens when your fire dies in your wood stove? Well, you have to give it your own breath. You have to give it your own air in order to make that fire ignite again. And that's what we're looking at today, is what do we lend our own will with our own air element, which is the mind. it may seem a little esoteric, but it's so interesting when we consider how our personal experience is reflected in the activities that we do each day and what we can actually learn from the elements itself. You know, if we have too much will, we can burn ourselves, right? And so how do you work with this balance of where to put your energy and where we overextend ourselves, which ultimately pulls us away from our center? The ultimate outcome today looks good, considering that this isn't a very encouraging card if we are stuck in that mental place. The outcome of the day is the Ace of Pentacles. So the Ace of Pentacles is like having an opportunity given to you, or having an opportunity that comes in, a new way of engaging in life. And Pentacles are all about our belief system and what we value and our body, their material things. And it also can be representative of our money and our material question. Consider how much energy you would have if you didn't sit up there in your mind, spinning your gears all darn day long about worry. And that may sound, you know, more simplified than it feels if you're stuck in this place. And yet I want to encourage you that you can place your attention in different places. If you see that if you can observe, right? If you can look at your own willfulness and observe where you pull yourself away from what you really need to do within this worry mental picture, right? So it reminds us to bring ourselves back to the body. If you find yourself in this space of, you know, gear turning in your mind, can you put your attention on your breath and just rest it there? Can you put your attention on the soles of your feet and how they're connecting with the ground underneath you? Or connect to how your fingertips feel on different surfaces in regard to temperature or texture? We can take advantage of these different anchors inside our own system to help give us a space with the other elements within our system. So if our mind is spinning off into worry, and it's also engaging our emotional center, and it's engaging all kinds of anxiety, what can we do with the body that can reset it physically? Can you go out and do some kind of activity that you enjoy in your body so that you can reset your system? Because movement is a beautiful gift in that way. And so I think ultimately we need to check in with our body. If we're in a place of worry, especially with all the different illnesses that are going around, if you're stressed out, you are basically putting yourself in line for getting sick, because stress is the energy in the body that sends us into fight or flight and anxiety, and it disconnects us from where we're anchored, because we are in this stressful place. We have to engage, we have to do something. But how much of that is made up by the mind? And how much of that is something that we can actually look at and see if it's useful to be there, or if it's actually perhaps more practical to bring ourselves back to our day-to-day activities and routines and care for the body. So interesting cards today, you guys. You know, even though there's not any major arcanas, I think it really does bring up the work that we are in with ourselves, as far as how do we stitch together the integrated system of the mind, body, emotions, and spirit, and our will. You know, I think if we can observe and learn where, you know, in such a way that we can take observation with a place of detachment, like, oh, when I did this, this happened, and when I did this, this happened, and oh man, yesterday I lost the whole day to this. Once we can acknowledge that, it gives us a little bit of separation, and it really opens us up to opportunity and what is ultimately a place of where we can engage and be in the world. Because this is what we have, is one coin. One big coin, which is an opportunity and something that we really value. And if we're spending all of our time here, we can't actually do this. So many blessings to you today, my friends. I send a good wish to you and so much love. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Mwah.